I used to spend the entire drive home from bars picking apart my conversations like a forensic investigator, trying to figure out the exact second the vibe died. You know, that specific sickening feeling. 1 minute she's smiling and engaged, and the next she's checking her phone, looking around for her friends, and giving you that polite, glazed over exit. I spent years convinced I just wasn't rich enough, tall enough, or built well enough to crack some hidden code. But the truth I had to learn the hard way is that continuous rejection rarely has to do with the genetic lottery. It has to do with the specific desperate behavior that are triggered an automatic no before you even finish introducing yourself. If you want to turn things around, you have to stop trying to force 100% success rate and start fixing the hidden mistakes that kill attraction on arrival. Absolute fastest way to guarantee rejection. Playing the long, agonizing game of sneaking into a girl's life under false pretenses. Funny girl you like, but you're terrified of immediate rejection to show it. So you become her platonic buddy instead. Buy her coffees, listen to her complain about her toxic ex for 3 months, and help her move apartments on a Saturday morning, all while secretly hoping she'll suddenly look across the room and realize you're the one. When you finally summon the courage to confess your feelings and drops the brother bomb, you feel blindsided and betrayed. But you weren't rejected for being you. You were rejected because you built the entire relationship on a fake foundation. Nobody likes feeling like a genuine friendship was actually just a long term sales pitch. Desperation has a very specific suffocating scent, and women can smell it from a mile away because it happens the second you build up a girl in your before you even know her. You match on a app or get a number, and instantly your brain writes a whole narrative about your future together. You start replying within 30 seconds with giant walls of text, adjusting your entire schedule to fit hers, and treating her like a prize you need to win rather than a human being you're just trying to get to know. When you treat a girl like a goddess or on a pedestal, she has no choice but to look down on you. By over investing early, you are subconsciously telling her that she is out of your league and she is simply going to take your word for it. A conversation is an interview where both of you are evaluating each other. And the moment you stop trying to convince her to like you, the power dynamic completely shifts. Most guys who get rejected constantly are simply trying way too hard to be liked, operating under the assumption that the safest route to a girl's heart is total, friction-free agreement. She mentions a band she loves, and even though you think their music is absolute garbage, you nod along and say they're awesome. Brings up a viewpoint or a hobby, and you morph your entire personality to match hers just to keep her smiling. This completely kills any sense of tension, mystery, or attraction because it is deeply, profoundly boring. A girl would much rather interact with a guy who is securely himself, even if they disagree on half the things they talk about, than a guy who acts like a blank mirror reflecting whatever he thinks she wants to see. Most rejections also happen because guys make the approach feel like a high stakes, life or death ultimatum rather than a casual interaction. They build up a massive volume of anxiety, wait until the absolute end of the night, and then drop this heavy, intense declaration of attraction on a girl. When you corner someone and ask them how, like it's a marriage proposal, you are putting them on a spot, forcing them make a definitive decision about a stranger right then and there. So they say no, just to protect their boundaries. Contrast that with a casual, confident invitation, like telling her you're checking out a new taco spot. on Thursday, and she should come along. One is a heavy demand for emotional validation. The other is just an invitation to join you in something fun you were already going to do anyway. You also have to look at the absolute panic that sets in the second there's a natural lull in the conversation. I used to think I had to act like a late night talk show host or a stand up comedian just to keep a girl from getting bored for a split second. The moment a silence lasted longer than 3 seconds, my brain would go into overdrive and I'd start rambling about random trivia or asking a million rapid fire questions like an interrogator, making the entire interaction feel like a high stress performance review. Real confidence is being completely comfortable with the silence. When you aren't rushing to fill the gaps, it shows you aren't desperate for her approval, and it gives her the space to actually step up and contribute to the conversation, which lets you to see if she's actually putting any effort or if you're just carrying dead weight. Beyond that, you have to completely reframe how you handle mixed signals because chasing a maybe is just a slow motion car crash towards a definitive rejection. I used to think that if a girl gave me a vague answer like, I'm really busy this week, but maybe sometime soon, was a riddle I needed to solve with better timing or funnier text message. I would spend days checking my phone, calculating the exact right hour to follow up, so I didn't seem too eager. But the truth is, if a girl listens to you, she makes it easy. If she legitimately if she's legitimately busy, she will offer an alternative day. When you find yourself constantly trying to decipher mixed signals, signal isn't mixed at all. It's a polite no that you're refusing to read and cutting your losses the second someone acts lukewarm proves you have standards. The day I stopped getting crushed by rejection was the day I realized that a no isn't a failure. It's just a filter. If you go into a clothing store and try on a jacket that's size too small, don't get mad at the jacket and you don't think your body is broken. It's just not your size. When a girl tells you she's not interested, it usually has almost nothing to do with your core worth. She might be dealing with a messy breakup. She might be stressed out of her mind with her career. Or you two might just genuinely not be a match. A quick no at the beginning is a massive blessing because it saves you months of wasting your time and money on someone who was never going to be your person anyway. And trying to negotiate or argue your way out of it only highlights a deep lack of self value. Ultimately, you have to build a life that is actually interesting enough that a single girl's opinion doesn't make or break your entire week. Lock in your fitness, develop your career, build solid friendship, and find obsession that fulfill your entire outside of the dating pool. When you have a life you genuinely love living by yourself, your entire vibe shifts. Stop approaching girls with the energy of a starving man begging for a crumb of attention. And you start approaching them with the energy of a guy who has great things going on and simply offering to let them part of it. That's the shift that changes everything, turning dating from a desperate search for validation into a casual selection process.